Alright, we're back with another BTS video. This time I'm going to be taking you around as I shoot an event for the Living Coast Discovery Center in Chula Vista. This is their annual fundraising event. They have a bunch of food, music, raffles, prizes, things to wins. So this is kind of what I do and where I start with any event. Always start with like the entrance, people coming in, people arriving to the event, what's their experience like. You know, they get these little cups, they're greeted by the greeters. There's some good branding there too. Trying to get pictures of people, trying to get details, trying to get the experience of arriving to the event. There was also a lot of vendors here at the event, serving up the attendees food, drinks. Everything was free with price of admission. So here we have Bushcraft, a kombucha booth. And just, again, trying to get details, trying to get people. The kind of the theory behind that is like, you know, for the event, I'm hired by Living Coast, so showing kind of like what happens at the event, so you get the people, but then also creating stuff for the vendors that shows off their products. Here's another drink brand, batch 22, and they had a mixed drink here that they were serving up. Okay, then we got a little photo booth here. So yeah, try to show people having fun, interacting with the brands, the different elements. We had a bunch of food vendors over here, so getting shots of the food. This event was called Farm to Bay, so it was heavily involved with food. Food was a really big part of this event, so I wanted to make sure I got, you know, kind of what each vendor was giving away. And yeah, usually the vendors are pretty nice. You know, obviously they want photos too that advertise their business. So, and I used to do a lot of food photography, so I love shooting food. Can I get a shot of you guys with your setup here? And then also interacting with the vendors, getting like a staged photo of them with their booth. A lot of times that's nice, not only for the vendors themselves to use, but also for the, you know, the event, you know, Living Coast to use. They can thank their vendors, you know, show pictures of them. They can use it for advertising next year.
I know the wind doesn't help, right?
So yeah, usually the vendors are pretty game for having you take photos of them because it benefits their business. They get advertising from the Living Coast, and then a lot of times the event people, the event managers, will also, you know, send the photos out to the vendors too. So the Living Coast is like a nonprofit animal rescue and rehabilitation. So they did have, at this event, they have a lot of like animal encounters, animal like chances to meet the animals, learn about them. These two parrots were missing part of their beaks, and so, you know, they need help. They hard for them to survive in the wild, so they're getting, you know, rehabilitated and taken care of at the Living Coast, which is cool. And the volunteers at the event also can like tell you a lot about the animals too. They're very knowledgeable, which is kind of cool for me to learn about, and then also for the attendees to learn about. Yeah, then we got more food. Drinks and stuff. And, you know, this is the first 30 minutes that I'm here at the event, so I'm really kind of like warming up at this point, and a lot of times I just try and like shoot a lot. Sometimes I feel like it takes a little while to kind of get warmed up, so it's kind of nice to shoot the food, get some of the action shots. And then there was a silent auction, and then there was also a live auction, so getting some of the things that are being auctioned off. Again, not only good for the vendors, but also good for the event itself, for Living Coast. They can use these kinds of photos to advertise next year's event. And we also had live music. Also have shot a lot of live music in my career, so just trying to get up close and personal, get a little shot of each of the band members, have them looking good, and yeah, just doing the rounds, checking. You know, this is probably my first lap around the entire event, so I'm looking and kind of getting oriented just as much as I'm taking photos. And you know, we went from sun to shade, so quickly changing those settings before capturing this vendor, telling the people about her wine. And then we got some laughter here, so that always makes for really good photos. People having a good time interacting with the vendors, enjoying themselves. And this is the first kind of stage photo of the guests that I'm getting. So again, trying to warm up. You know, not every photo is going to be a banger, so kind of just starting the process.
Thank you.
There we go. And yeah, just trying to keep a smile on my face too, so people know I'm friendly and I'm not just trying to like steal photos of them. Going back through and making sure that photo turned out good. Then some good looking fried chicken. Yep, sometimes too, just it's a matter of waiting around for something interesting to happen for the vendors and the guests to interact. We've got some sushi here. Looking good. And then, you know, there's this giant fish, so obviously gotta capture that.
Okay.
And then yeah, there's, you know, the vendors are usually pretty cool. They're always down to kind of get in photos for you. And then here's some of the sea creatures that they have at the Living Coast. It's kind of a fun little exhibit. And yeah, since the Living Coast is, you know, nonprofit for animal rescue and rehabilitation, it's nice to kind of like get photos of the animals too that they can use in whatever, you know, kind of advertising, branding, messaging, social media posts that they want. And sometimes it takes a lot of shots to find a good one. Right, we got another animal encounter here, and you'll see the volunteers kind of, you know, telling the attendees about the bird. A lot of them have kind of cool stories about how they got rescued or about their specific, you know, the type of animal that it is, specific things about them. Got a little snake here, and this is a cool picture too because of the volunteer's tattoo too. You know, you have like the snake on her arm and then she's holding the snake. it's important to like stay on your toes as an event photographer too, because like sometimes there's just stuff happening that you want to capture, like people, and it's really hard to shoot people eating. Nobody like looks good eating, and nobody wants to be photographed while they're eating, so kind of getting those moments in between where it's like, oh, they're enjoying what they're eating but they don't look crazy. And then yeah, honestly, it's a lot of just cruising the grounds, you know, looking for new stuff. You kind of stay in a spot for a while and everything seems to be going the same, so you just kind of like do laps and look for interesting angles, look for interesting, you know, things happening, look for interesting people interacting in different ways. We got different animals at different spots throughout the event here, you know. And so I've probably done a couple laps at this point and kind of feel like I've gotten a good overview of the initial, you know, what's going on at the event. So I'm pulling out my 70 to 200 here to kind of spice things up, get different looking shots. This will also allow me to, you know, zoom in further, get more details, capture things and people happening, and I'm not, you know, I don't have to be right next to them in order to get a good photo. So switching it up not only for me and my interests, but also for visual interests, for the photos that I will deliver to the client. So yeah, we're just gonna cruise around again, see what we can find. So see, look how the 70 to 200 is nice, because not only can you be a little further away and get those candid shots, but also the background can be super blurred because you have that longer focal length. It just looks really nice. People usually enjoy the look of those photos. And yeah, kind of just it's easier to get candids because you can stand further away from people. They don't notice you as much. And I think there's benefit to both, right? Sometimes you do want the guests to see you and interact with you. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you want a purely candid shot because they tend to look pretty nice. Also with the 70 to 200, your subjects can really be isolated in the photo. And this guy kept like popping up in a lot of my photos. He just kept kind of being where the camera was, which was pretty funny. I don't think he was trying, it just ended up happening, so we kept interacting throughout the event. And yeah, whenever there's an animal encounter like this, or really anything that's like happening, I try and get a lot of different angles. We want to see the animal, we want to see the volunteer, we want to see the guests interacting with the animal. So really trying to tell the entire story. Same with the vendors too. You want, you know, shots of the vendors themselves, shots of what they're offering to the guests, and shots of them interacting with the guests. One way I've heard it described before in a way that you can kind of remember when in the moment when you're shooting without making things too complicated is wide, medium, close-up. So a wide shot, you know, of the booth and the vendor, a medium, maybe some interaction between the vendors and the guest, and then close-up, which would be like that shot of them pouring the beer, you know, or a close-up of the beer itself. And sometimes it's just a matter of hanging out, you know. You haven't gotten good photos of a vendor quite yet. You just might need to like hang out at the vendor for a while, wait for things to happen. And a lot of times when I'm looking to take pictures of people, I'm looking for, you know, like folks who look like they'd be open to getting a photo taken. They're not like deep in conversation. So then Maya came up to me. She's the event manager. She had a special request.
I do got that.
interfacing with other people, I guess. You know, kind of things to post, I think. Sorry, this is the
Okay, yeah, very good.
So yeah, she was saying that Ben is the executive director and he's looking to have a few extra photos of him being taken at the event.
yeah, the other ones to add on to the conversation.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No biggie, right? He's the executive director of Living Coast, so that's definitely a request you're gonna want to follow up on. And she was showing me a picture of him because I'd never met Ben. This was probably my second or third event with the Living Coast, and this is a really big, important one, obviously, because it's their major fundraising event for the year. So, you know, kind of want to be on top of it. So I've literally walked around and around this entire event looking for this man. I saw him go in that room, and obviously I'm not gonna bother him right at the moment, so just gonna see what else I can capture at the moment, but still kind of like keep an eye on him, kind of stay in proximity, make sure that I'm around when he's available. I think he was like going in to have a conversation with someone, so yeah, there he is right there. Just want to make sure I'm in the vicinity so I can catch him when he starts talking to other people. But also in a hallway with bad lighting like this, not the ideal photo location. So I told Maya that I would kind of stalk him, so I'm kind of just, you know, hanging around, trying not to be bothersome, letting him have his conversations, but keeping an eye on him so once he starts kind of making his rounds again, I can shoot him with some people, you know, in better light and stuff too. So, you know, kind of waiting around, but also, you know, I don't want to just stand around doing nothing. I want to make sure that I'm also still getting photos of the event, making sure I capture what's happening, what's going on, get a variety of people.
Can I get a photo of you guys really quickly? Right.
How much do you pay?
Huh?
How much do you pay?
A lot. Yeah, mirrorless.
These people were so funny because
Okay, ready? One,
I think
two,
I was
three.
caught off guard
One more.
by
One,
his
two,
question,
three.
and I was like, but they were super cool. Another thing I'm looking for when getting, you know, posed photos of people is I want to get a variety of people, you know, ages, ethnicities, looks, groups, you know, big groups, small groups, all that stuff.
Can I get a photo of you guys real quick? Ready? One, two, three. Alright.
Also like people who
Perfect,
like
thank you.
look like they enjoy themselves, look like they're having a good time. Alright, so we found Ben again. Gonna kind of get him interacting with people. And he wanted a picture with his family. I guess his whole family came to the event as well, so. And again, executive director.
So far, so good. Yeah. It's a lot going on.
I want to make sure he's happy.
It's a lot.
Very
It's
fun.
actually way busier than it was last week.
Good, don't make
Yeah, he said the event's way busier than last year, so, you know, there's a lot going on, a lot to capture. And like a simple, you know, request of like him and his family is just like super easy to accommodate. It's not really
Okay, one.
a very big issue, right? Making sure I got the photo looking good there. And then these lovely ladies next to him wanted to get a photo with him as well.
You can, yeah, you can
And I
say it.
said,
You can say
yeah,
it.
as long as I can get a photo of you guys right here, right now.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Everybody
There was a
ready?
lot of important people at this event that I
Okay.
did not know
Everybody ready?
who they were, so I
1, 2,
honestly treated everyone like
one
VIPs,
more.
like
1, 2, 3.
just assuming that everyone was an important person, and so taking their photo and treating them accordingly. And then yeah, getting some candids of them talking together. And then also just not hanging around too much,
Can I get a
you know, making
photo
sure
of
I'm
you
not like
ladies really quickly?
an annoying pest just hovering around him while he's kind of doing his thing.
All right, yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We got
1,
ladies
2,
looking nice on the deck here in nice lighting. And seeing what else is out there. You know, after the first few rounds, you do kind of get the majority of the vendors, you get majority of, you know, the people, so kind of looking for those different shots. That's a nice shot where you can see the Farm to Bay logo. Got some guest interaction there. And then that lady saw me, so she kind of posed in the photo a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, let me get a nice photo of you too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Keeping the eyes peeled, you know, looking for people having fun. And then a lot of times when people catch you too, I'll if they catch you taking the candid photo, I'll end up taking a staged photo of them as well.
Perfect.
And this is kind of fun, you know, drinks being made, pretty because it's really bright green, so that makes for kind of a cool photo. And then while they're serving guests, you kind of get the full gambit of them interacting, making the drink, so it's beneficial to kind of hang out with at a vendor for a little bit and just kind of get their whole process of how they're making stuff. Usually ends up looking pretty cool.
Can I get a photo of you guys real quick? Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
So we got the announcer here. Yeah, I'm really showing you guys just the highlights too. This isn't like, this event was 3 hours, so I'm not going to show you 3 hours of raw footage of me shooting. But we got another animal encounter here. So again, shooting the guest, shooting the animal, shooting the volunteer. It looks like they're having like a cool conversation too. And like I shot, you know, probably shot 10 photos of this interaction. And, you know, 1 or 2 of them are going to turn out really good. So yeah, on events like this, a lot of times I try and do kind of like 60-40 or 50-50 like staged versus candid photos. So like 60 candid, 40 posed. And then eventually we had the live auction, using that 70 to 200 again to get, you know, really close up but not have to be at the front of the stage. And then the live auction was actually like kind of challenging to shoot because people just fling their signs up really quickly. So you got to be on it. You got to be eye to camera, finger on the shutter, and just like scoping. Like you don't know unless they're getting in like a little bidding war, and you can kind of know who's, you know, the two people who are going to go back and forth. You're really just scanning the entire crowd the whole time, and then you got to have that camera up, click quickly, because the sign goes up, sign goes down quickly.
3,000, not gonna make it 31. 31 the minute now. Are you? You're not tipping. 3,000. You want to go 3,050? That's the.
And the host was super funny. It was like so funny to hear him just start going into like auction mode.
3150. We're here going twice. 3,000. Yes, sir. You're on it, Vicky. Unless you want to outbid him, now's your time. A big round of applause. Very nicely done.
Yeah, getting people applauding. That's always a good photo.
And 6.5 and go. Not gonna make it 6.5. $650, sir. $650 and he's in. Not gonna make it 7. $700 there. 7 bidder. Not gonna make it 7.5. $750 and go. Not gonna make it 7.5. $750.
The lighting is starting to get really nice. We're starting to get into golden hour.
$800 and go. You drop that. You want to pick that up? While you do that, why don't you put your paddle in the air? Not gonna make it 800. $800 and she's in. Not gonna make it 8.5. 8.5 bidder. Not gonna make it 9. At $900.
So I'm just sat there like
8.5. Not gonna make it 9.
poised, waiting for the right photo.
$950 and get away. Not gonna make it 9.5. $900. Not gonna make it 9.5.
Scanning the crowd. Scanning the crowd. Oh, checking what time it is too.
$900.
Scanning the crowd though. Looking for those signs to go up, and then boom.
$1,000, you want to jump in at 1,000 he's in. 1,000 bidder, not going to make 11. $1,100, you want to jump in at 1,100. $1,100. 1,100 he's in, not going to make it 12. So the gentleman on the rail at $1,300, paddle number 628. Paddle number 628. Give him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all of our live auction. Give everybody a huge round of applause for bidding. Thank you so very much.
Okay, getting more applause.
Caitlin, would you join us on stage about some of the educational programs? She's the director
And then we got some people
of education, Shayna Foreman, and our
talking on stage, which is always important. You want to get, you know, a couple of photos of each person who talks on stage.
Good evening, everyone. It's really great to see you all tonight. As I mentioned, I'm Shayna Foreman. I'm the Director of Education and Guest Experience here at the Living Post. And in addition to introducing
and then
Caitlin,
we also have this epic shot.
She does have Freya with us tonight. Beautiful Harris Hawk.
After the auction was done, things kind of started to, you know, die down. People started leaving. It starts clearing out a little bit. So I'm just going to keep going. I probably had, you know, 30 minutes or another hour to go at this point. And getting more shots of Ben, interacting with people. And then, you know, just kind of seeing what's left. You know, like the vendors start cleaning up. It ends up being a lot of people just talking. And so, you know, a lot of candids end up happening. And a lot of stage photos too at this point. But yeah, waiting for those moments where it's like that, something nice. People interacting, smiling, laughing. Everyone's quite relaxed at the end too, so you know they don't really pay attention to the camera as much, which is nice. They've seen you, you know, loop around the event 100 times by now. And now that the light's looking nice, I can get more shots of the band. I hadn't got the singer earlier. Hugs. You know, people looking happy, people looking like they're having a good time. That's always what works for event photos. And then this chick saw me, so I was like, oh, hey, let's do a photo with everyone. And they were asking about, would it be bad if the sun was behind them? And as long as you're low enough that the sun's not shining directly in your camera, backlighting actually tends to look pretty good. So I made sure that the sun was kind of blocked by one of the ladies' heads. And then we got another animal encounter here. Get the guest, get the animal, get the volunteer, wide, medium, close up. And yeah, just continuing to do the rounds. This was also a zero waste event, so they, on the shot list they sent me, they did want photos of the no waste stations, and then also made sure to get some of the, you know, people who were helping keep the event clean, which was cool. And here's this guy who has kept being in all my photos.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I saw it back.
I think he liked being in front of the camera, so, you know, towards the end, you can see how empty it is now. There's not as many people, so it's kind of nice to just, you know, chat it up with some people, interact, network.
It's the one person in the crowd who's like,
Well, because you called me earlier.
You can see it's really starting to empty out now, so I'm kind of, you know, going around seeing what's left for me to capture. All the gifts and stuff, you know, the silent auction is done, have been given away. To just keep walking around, looking busy, searching for those last little photos. This guy was very active in the live auction, so I wanted to make sure I got a picture of him.
ready? 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you.
Again, a lot of times, you know, events, especially for donors and stuff, they'll say big thank yous or, you know, make posts about that to put it in the email recap, so
Can I get a photo of you real quick with your prize there?
It's not my prize.
it's nice.
You can claim it.
Nice to get those types of photos.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, just continuing to cruise around, you know, keep moving around and looking for those photos, because especially if any of the event people kind of see you, they don't want to see you just sitting around. And there's Sadie, who was my contact. She's the marketing manager, so she's the one who originally hired me for the event. So I think she knows that things are kind of winding down, so we're just kind of catching up. She's making sure I got everything I needed to. All is good. And it sounds like they made their fundraising goal. And she was like, yeah, you're probably good to go. So from there, I just went back in, started packing up my stuff. I assured her that I got plenty of good stuff throughout the process, so we're just gonna pack it up here and then head out. And yeah, it was definitely a successful event. Happy with how the photos turned out.